Hi again, it's Jason from Fraser Valley Rose Farm, and these peppers are far too hot for me to eat. These are the Armageddon peppers, and I took these off of a plant in a video a couple of days ago off of a pepper plant that I grew this season. They rank at about 1,000,003 Scoville, 1,300,000. Scoville heat units is the way they measure the heat in peppers, and just for reference, the peppers that you might find at your regular supermarket might range from the low 10,000 Scoville up to maybe 150,000 Scoville. So this might be from 10 to 20 times as hot. It's the kind of thing that you'd see people doing a pepper challenge and then doing their reaction where they cry and blubber and drool after having them. I'm not going to do that for you today, as fun as that might be. I'm going to cut down the heat by using regular cooking oil. Now, more than you might have wanted to know about capsaicin, it does not react, like if I rub this against my skin, or even if I rub the juice against my skin, I would not feel a burn there. But anytime it touches a mucous membrane, my eyes, my nose, my mouth, that's when I'm going to have the reaction to it. So that's why I'm wearing gloves today, is as I handle this, I don't want to get it absorbed into my skin and then later touch my eyes. Second thing you might want to know about it is that it's not water soluble. So some people take a chug of water after they have a hot pepper. I think that's going to take away the burn. It doesn't. Having milk or something with fat in it might be a little bit better. That's why this works. Actually, the two things that I know that can dissolve the capsaicin into it is either fat or alcohol. I'm not going to do this with a bottle of vodka, so I'm going to do it with this bottle of oil. So just to make this easy, I'm going to cut the top off here, and I'm only going to focus on one section of the wall of this pepper. That way it'll make it nice and easy. And even as I open that up, I get a strong aroma. Like it's just like a burny kind of. It's fruity, but it's I can feel the scent of the pepper in there. And I'm just going to pour on. This is canola oil. You could do any kind of a cooking oil. It really does dissolve into the oil itself. And people say that you should cut out the seeds on a pepper to try to get rid of the heat. I don't think it's so much the seeds necessarily as the membrane on the inside of the pepper, the white membrane that holds the seeds, as well as, I'll get to close-ups here, but the inside of the pepper, you'll see kind of a glossy, I guess, blisters on the inside of the pepper that hold a lot of that capsaicin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to vigorously scrape down the inside of this pepper and try to break those blisters. I'm going to take my time on this here, so I may cut a section out of the video as I do it, but I'm going to take my time just working through to try to get some of those blisters on the inside of the skin of this pepper to release that capsaicin into the oil. And once I've massaged it really carefully here, I'm not going to run this under the sink because actually the water won't dissolve the oil or won't absorb the oil. However, a paper towel will. Remember, oil and water don't mix, right? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to pat it dry and get the oil to absorb into the paper towel. I'll just move it to a fresh spot on the paper towel and do that again. Just try to get that oil and try to rub away some of that inside blistery section of the skin of the pepper. And wipe down the plate. Anything that's touched the hot pepper juice, I'm moving it away. And now I have here on the inside of this plate, I have the pepper skin. But I'm not stopping right there because, it's a million Scoville. I'm going to cut it down a little further. So I'm going to take another drop of oil, put it on here, and I'm going to repeat the process. Taking this skin and rubbing the oil on the inside of that skin and taking my time as I scrape away those blisters on the inside of the skin to get down to the flesh of the pepper. Now you may ask, why would you do this? Why wouldn't you just buy or grow the pepper that matches your heat profile? Of course you can do that, but you may have a recipe that calls for something like Scotch bonnet, and you might want that authentic flavor, but you might not be able to handle the heat level of it. From experience, you'll know that. So if you take and treat it like this first, you can have that authentic Scotch bonnet flavor, but you'll be cutting down on the heat. You won't actually remove it entirely. I know that there are some people who have a method where you, again, soak this in alcohol for a length of time. and really have all of that capsaicin soak into the alcohol over, you know, a 10-hour period or something like that. And that will get rid of, you know, almost all of that heat. This here should really get rid of a good portion of it. It might take it down from being, you know, again, ghost pepper hot or nearly so, down to, you know, I guess habanero hot or something like that. So I'm going to find out in just a second here, because I will, after having treated it like this, put this in my mouth. And I promise you that because I'm not a pepper eater, not experienced that way, if this had still had its original amount of heat in it, you would see me as a quivering mess after taking a bite out of this. So let's give this a taste. I'm going to give myself a generous little bite here. I definitely get some heat. I have the that fragrance that when I opened the pepper for the first time, that sort of fruity fragrance, I can get that. But this is handleable. This is actually, it's taken it from a pepper that I certainly could not handle myself, you know, that sort of ghost pepper range, or a little lower, down to sort of like that habanero range, where I mean, it's at the limits of what I can handle, but it's still fairly good. And, you know, I'll have another bite here. But it, you know, it's made it so that I can handle it. So for me, the dilution in oil has done its job. And if you want to, I'm going to say it's a win. If you want to reduce the heat of your pepper, this is definitely a way to do it. Before I wrapped up here, I just wanted to really quickly update you on the flooding situation here in the Fraser Valley. I've had a number of viewers reach out to me on Facebook to ask how we are. We're fine. I just wanted to say that right up front. There have been torrential downpours here on the west coast, and it's resulted in flooding, especially up in Hope, but certainly all of the low areas of the lower mainland have been hit pretty hard. We happen to be kind of lucky here insofar as we've had a major flood in this area back in 1948, and after that they erected this dike. Over on this side here, the Fraser River came up quite high, and areas that were not underwater are definitely underwater now. This side here is the island, and we're kind of safe behind the dike. Now, who knows what's going to happen over the next couple of days. I hear there's water in the interior areas that's still flowing down the Fraser River, and we'll see if that brings the river up any further and threatens us a little bit more. But so far, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It looks like we'll come through it just fine. So I just want to thank you for your concern, and put out my expression of concern for those who have been hit harder than we have in a lot of these communities. And thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please drop those down below the video.